Welcome back to Toys on Tap. This week is another great week. Mimor comes on and they talk about toys. And not only toys, but soft vinyl toys that they are making in their home in the US. It's pretty unheard of. There's only a few artists that are doing it in the States. And even better, they have started creating their own mold pans. So it is an insane look into toy making and how it's evolving. If you want more Toys on Tap, you can like, follow, rate, review wherever you get your podcast. If you want to follow along, at Toys on Tap is the handle wherever social media is. And if you want to support the show, reach out and become a sponsor. That's the best way you can do that. All of the downloads, all of the saves, all of the comments, all of the ratings and reviews, everything is pushing this podcast forward, and we couldn't be more thankful for you as a listener. We have also begun to switch over to a new website, toysontap.co. Go take a look. We love what we're doing. Next, we will be moving the shop over from where it is to there and shutting down Big Cartel, because we had friends of the podcast build us out a website, and they did it because they love what's going on here. Keep in touch for all this and more. Now let's get back to this week's episode of Toys on Tap. Hey, I'm so excited.
Me too.
We are like, I've seen you at different shows. You have not only like bought stuff from me, you've modeled my clothing that I've like brought to life. It's just been such a fun thing to like touch base. And you make toys at home and not like resin toys. You make the harder soft vinyl at home. So we have so much to talk about. And while we're on like recording, just so people know, I messed up last time. You were supposed to get recorded earlier, but I fumbled. It's okay because I don't read sometimes. But I'm so pumped. So please, like we start every episode, introduce yourself, tell us who you are and what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, thank you so much for having me here. I've been listening to you for a while now, which you know, but I'm excited to be on. My name is Mimor Toys, Dora Palmer, but otherwise known as Mimor Toys on the internet. I'm an analog toy maker, soft vinyl artist and designer based out of Southern California, and everything I do is out of my garage.
Analog toy maker is the coolest way that this has ever been described. Like that is such a fun, like, which I'm assuming that means you're sculpting yourself. Everything's by hand, all that.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
And I have really a huge fan of folks who 3D print and model online too, but it's just not for me and my process.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I can't do either. I'm currently learning how to 3D sculpt, but let me tell you, just so everyone hears this, especially you, it's not going well. So I will continue to pay people to do the things that I need because it's not doing what it should.
Listen, if you ever need help, I mean, my thing is answering questions. I'm by no means an expert, but if you ever need assistance, feel free to reach out.
Well, we're going to get into it, but by no means an expert is a crazy way to describe someone who's pulling their own soft vinyl. So that's wild. So we're going to go all the way back to childhood, figure out why toys, but let's start with the name. Why Mimor?
Oh man, how much time you got?
Hey, this is your time.
So, short answer is that it was an inside joke between myself and my partner, my now fiance, who anytime we said "I love you," the other person would say "me more." And the longer answer is that I have been wanting to make toys my whole life. I have been making them as one-off gifts for friends for a very long time. And a few years ago, a friend who runs a cafe decided very suddenly before Christmas that she wanted to do pop-up artists markets. And she knew that I was making these little art dolls for people. So she came to me and she said, "Hey, I have a spot in 2 weeks. Can you come do something?" And I said, "I have no product. I have no characters. I have nothing that I'm doing on a regular basis." And she was like, "You'll figure it out." So within 2 weeks, I had to kind of pull together a toy company. And then a few days before dropping I had no name, and just kind of reaching for something out of thin air, I grabbed that inside joke, and
Yeah.
it stuck and landed.
I'm assuming that evolved from something over time. The word Mimor, like as a response to "I love you." It reminds me of like I saw a video of how like pet names evolve. Like my dog's name is Edna. I don't call her Edna. I call her all kinds of crazy things now, but it's because it's evolved over time. And so I'm assuming Mimor kind of evolved out of something else, right?
It must have. It
Okay.
must have. I can't recall exactly what it was, but I know that it was sort of a more recent inside joke in that form when I decided on it for a toy company name.
Yeah.
Who's to
Nice.
say?
Uh,
And then, of course, we show up to this art market, and our two best friends are like, "Did you steal our inside joke?" That when one of
Jeez.
us says "I love you," the other one says "me more," and I'm discovering that this has become like, other people have this running joke with their partners as well. But anyway, that's the
How
story.
funny. Take me back to childhood. Toys are never just a one-off thing. So there's got to be something in the cartoons or the toys you're playing with. So tell me about all that to kind of round out who you are as a kid.
Yeah, so for some context, I was born in the first year of the Gen Z generation, so sort of a little bit of a cusper. The first thing I think about when I was a kid and what I was playing with are desktop PC games
Yeah.
and toys that kind of blur the lines of physical toys and like computer toys. My favorite toy as a kid was a computer robot
Hmm.
that spoke to you. I was a big Webkinz kid, where you have a physical toy that comes with a code, and then you plug that code into the website and play with the digital avatar of the toy. I also, spent a good chunk of time on Club Penguin and Neopets. I was
Yeah.
really into, the game Spore, which was a PC game that came out when I was like 9 or 10. Um, but arguably the most relevant is that the same year that Spore dropped, Kidrobot opened its first standalone store just like a mile away from my house. And from the day they opened, it was like if I wasn't playing some alien life simulator on the family computer, that was where I wanted to be. So Dunnys specifically were everything to me. So when I was like 9, I was begging my dad to take me all the time, going to
Rad.
Frank Kozik pop-ups and supervised trading with adults, entering design contests and actually doing okay in some of them, which is, if they didn't know that I was like a 10-year-old kid. But, if toys weren't something that I was born with in my DNA already, that's kind of really what imprinted it.
Absolutely rad. I mean, so I obviously am a millennial. I say obviously as if that's like there's something about me. But like I got to enjoy that little mix as well. And I mean Tamagotchis, unreal, unreal. My favorite thing is like that was a way to punish older siblings if they had them. Like you would just hide them until they died, and then it was like gotcha. um, but that
Oh
and
yeah, man.
then like towards the end of like my toy thing, you had these like I don't know these like little robot dogs and like Furbies are in there somewhere, and so I think you're coming in right as that part's leaving and like it goes digital, which is a funny progression because then you have artists like Mumbot who are working in Web3, which is like the combination of these things all over again. And that's crazy that you did that. And also that you hit Designertoys so early on.
Yeah, I don't know what it was. There was also this. I've tried to find it for the life of me on the internet. So if anyone knows what the name of this was, please hit me up. At the LA Farmers Market and the Grove, there used to be a pop culture resin toy gallery shop space. And I was obsessed with it. Like
Hmm.
pre Kid Robot, they had the Devil Hot Stuff. There was like a whole cabinet of resin toys of his sculptures, I guess.
Hmm.
Um, so I don't know what it was. It just got me. It really like picked up that thing in my DNA and was like, this is who you'll be for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And
Which is crazy because you can't, like, I mean, kids will do whatever, but like playing with those toys doesn't happen. So, I mean, early on, did you realize that? Like, this is just going to sit on my shelf and that's all it's going to do?
absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah. I was not a big play with my toys kid. Maybe I was when I was a lot younger. There, but yeah, I also wasn't really into dolls by the time that I got to be like 8 or 9 years old. I liked them when I was much, much younger. Um, but no, I liked them as art pieces. I was very fortunate. I love my parents. My parents are awesome. I got very lucky with the parents that raised me, and that they kind of labeled me as a creative when I was very young, and that they would be like, "You are creative," and I think that that really helped form my sense of who I am. Um, but they were also really into having me like go to museums and eh, I don't know, like explore different avenues of art. Not that they fully understood it. Um, but I was also the kind of kid who was like always a really DIY kid. Like I would spend hours online looking at DIY websites, being like, okay, what can I make? And then my mom would come home. My mom's a teacher, and she would come home with like, milk cartons and be like, can you do something with this? And I'd be like, yeah, there was that tutorial online. And so she would kind of encourage me to make whatever I could. And then it would just sit there. And I think that I viewed Dunnys as the same thing, as like someone put a lot of effort into this, and I'm just gonna be a collector.
Rad. I mean, that means art picked up early on. Tell me about this art that's like going through, because I'm assuming it goes all the way through. Did you go to college as well?
I did. I did
Okay.
not study art in college.
Okay.
I
What would we do?
so I actually it's really funny because retro, hindsight is 2020. I think that I went through a long period in my life of being a teenager and young adult where, depression is a bitch. And
Yeah.
I was really convinced that there was nothing that I was interested in. And while I had that mindset, I was still making toys. And for some reason, I didn't put two and two together. I think that I was so quote unquote real career oriented, and that I
Hmm.
really thought that I needed to do a quote unquote real job, which of course toys can be. And now I know that, even though it's not what I do for work. But I didn't take art classes in high school because I thought I wasn't good enough. And then I started out college as pre-med. I unfortunately was kind of in and out of the hospital with my own health issues a lot.
Hmm.
So I was fed up with the pre-med track, dropped out, and studied film theory.
Okay.
The idea of getting into the film industry in some capacity. But even throughout all of that, I was learning doll repainting and was making stuffed animals for my friends and kit bashing little like dollar store toys to look like cartoon characters that my friends had created to gift to them. So, it all comes together.
Yeah. I I mean, we're talking this like pre-med's wild, by the way. Like that is a crazy track to start on.
It's
Um,
different.
but I think you're articulating something that a lot of us feel. Like if I could go back and undo the degrees that I have and get them in anything else, I would.
Yeah.
I would redo that for sure. Um, but it is, I mean, here we are. We're stuck with what we did. But you were still kind of aligned because it like film theory and all that stuff. There's the like the prototype aspect where you can make those things from films and all that stuff. So how did we weave these things together?
So my professional life and my toy life, I are pretty separate.
Hmm.
So they're not completely woven together. I have a very uh, what's the left side and right side of the brain? Left side is creative.
Something like that.
Sure,
We would know if we were the opposite side.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a very kind of like numbers driven job.
Mhm.
And most people at my work, I don't think really know that after work, this is all that I do. Um, so it's not that woven together. Um, but I think the first thing that made me really realize like, oh, this is what I want my outlet to be. Because I've hopped around a lot of different hobbies. I was a costume designer for drag artists in LA for a while. I was doing prop making for a while. My fiance is an outstanding production artist and designer, so I was helping them for a while. Was the Study Craftin' YouTube channel.
Okay.
As you know, as a kid who grew up obsessed with DIY and who always wanted to find a way to make vinyl toys, when he started dropping his tutorials online, I was like, oh, this is doable. And I have a lot of time to make up for. I've
Mhm.
been wanting to do this my whole life. I've been wanting to do this kind of hobby my whole life. Um, so I'm gonna, full speed ahead, learn how to do it as an adult. And it's not completely woven together. I mean, I do my work during the day and toys at night, and it works out really well,
Yeah.
actually. I don't need them to be one and the same. So,
So many of us are not lucky in, like, some people, that's what they do. They go to work, they do toys, they come home, they do toys. What a job. But like you, I do not get to merge those things together, which is fine. I mean, as of recently, I'm like adjacent in that I get to like run an art festival, but outside of that, there's no toys there. Um,
that's really cool.
let's talk about the skill sets though, that like you just dropped some lore in like drag design, which insane. I've watched I is it RuPaul's drag, my wife watches it all the time,
Yes,
so
sir.
we'll like watch it. And then anything that has to do with like costume design, makeup design, hair, like those shows are insane. And then you did prototype. So hey, build out some lore here. How did you get into any of that?
I need to be making something all the time because I'm
Okay.
crazy. I think that if I didn't have some sort of creative hobby, I would go completely insane.
Mhm.
So I kind of hyperfixate on different things just for the sake of wanting to become an expert in something, not wanting to do it forever. I go through different phases where I'm like, I really just want to know how to do this. It'll keep me afloat. And then I kind of move on to the next thing. Toys are really the only thing that have stayed consistent my whole life. But I think it's the like watching tutorials thing during COVID. I had just graduated college and then got a job out of college, and then they called me and said, "Hey, there's a virus going around, so we're gonna,
Yeah.
put you on hold for 2 weeks, and we'll see where we are in 2 weeks." And of course, that didn't happen. So during lockdown, I was really hungry for being able to do something. I was a Drag Race fan, uh, and I just zeroed in on that. I am really inspired by all the folks I see on Instagram and on YouTube. And I just decided, this is something that you can do by yourself. You can order fabric, you can learn to do makeup on yourself. And so, as a solo quarantined activity. And then when COVID started to lift up, I actually began performing as a burlesque clown performer, a drag
Amazing.
performer, which was really fun. But throughout all that too, like I was reaching out to, I actually didn't remember that I did this, but I was learning mold making because I was like, one day I'm going to make toys. And I have to prepare during lockdown. So I was reaching out to like Robert Taloni, who is a mold making master,
Hmm.
being like, I'm 22 and I'm an aspiring toy maker, and how do you get this to work? And so I put my time to that use. I think, and also just like an anxious way of trying to distract myself from the pandemic. But yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's, I mean, going back, if we could reuse that pandemic time, holy moly. Like, I wasn't making toys like I should have been. I wasn't doing all the things I should have been. And so, if I could go back to having, it's a crazy thing to say, like 3 months off work would be wild to go back to do that. That so we get into this because you have a maker streak is what you have. And then you get to this point where it's like we're going to make toys. So take me up to the point where you finally decide like toys are where I'm going. We're going to do it.
it was really the cafe sale that
Mhm.
my friend organized where I said, "Well, what do you want me to make?" And she said, "Toys."
Okay.
And I was perfect. Let's go. At the time, I was still doing costumes, so I figured that making plushies out of existing fabric that I already had was the way to go. And I sculpted hard clay faces
Hmm.
for all the toys, and that was the first toy that I dropped. And I still saw them sometimes at cons, kind of dead stock. Eventually, I want to create more like monstery soft vinyl faces
Hmm.
for plush toys. I think that would be rad, especially as like an Edward Mobley and Rushton doll fan.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but it gave me the fire to keep making toys. Um, I think that I realized I, I kind of got I was kicking myself a little bit because I made those toys knowing that like Labubus weren't quite a thing yet, but I
Hmm.
was aware of them and I knew that they were getting popular, so that pushed me to into the Rushton doll-y direction. But I realized after that I was like, this isn't really what I want to be making.
Hmm.
I really want to be doing the monster stuff. And it lit that fire. Well, I was like, well, now I have to do it. Now I have to. Now this is my next hyperfixation. And, anyone who comes over to my house is going to be exposed to all these sorts of chemicals, and that's okay.
Yeah. I love the idea of merging plush. That's I mean that's the next step I want to move into is some kind of plush anything.
You should do
Um,
it. It's super fun.
the part that's hard is like so I do a lot of factory stuff, so it's like finding the factory, but in order to do that I have to have the pattern. So then I got to find someone to help me develop a pattern for something crazy, and I don't know what that is yet. Like
Yeah.
who knows? I'm looking around and I haven't seen what I want to do yet. And but when I do, you'll know. You'll know.
Dude, you'll get there. Listen, what's ours is already ours. You know,
Yeah.
you've got.
So doing those things and going to that cafe, I mean, rocking the house and getting ready to launch when you really didn't have anything to launch. Like pressure really builds an artist from nothing, and which is amazing. So getting through that, you've ended your first show and it was like the first day of your company, I guess, as well, like all at once.
For soft vinyl, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
For soft vinyl, yes. So Collected Con was the first time that I debuted any sort of soft vinyl things in person. I had been selling via Instagram DMs and on Reddit with, the caveat of like, this is not perfect. Like, please,
Yeah.
know that there's going to be bubbles and, everything. But the support has been completely unexpected and humbling and incredible. But yeah, the Collected Con was the first time that I had taken a chance and reached out to someone and said, "Hey, can I vend here?" Extremely nervous,
Hmm.
extremely worried that I wasn't going to get production done in time. But up until that point, I had been doing smaller pop-ups just with the plushes. And I gotta tell you, like, Collected Con was amazing. It was
Yeah, it was fun.
really, it was so cool.
Um, I want to dive real deep into the soft vinyl stuff because the history of soft vinyl and Sofubi making is intense as it is, and it's shrouded in toxic chemicals and like all kinds of stuff. So when you decide you want to make soft vinyl at home, you kind of got to make a decision that you want to bring all this into your life, like plastisol, all that stuff. So how did we start that process? Because at CollectedCon, not only did you sell those things, you had one of your mold pans there, which is insane because not like this sounds so weird. People will buy soft vinyl toys, but to show them the mold that it came out of is a behind the scenes thing that almost no one recognizes because it looks so different than what actually is in front of them.
Sure.
So tell me about this. I mean, you go to the cafe thing, you have your toy making, and then we pivot into soft vinyl. That's a process that you're learning all on your own, trial and error, all that stuff. So walk me through that and the beginnings of that. Um, Also, how do you prepare for all the toxic stuff coming in?
First of all, if you're doing this, wear so many masks, wear
Yeah.
gloves, wear aprons. Like I kind of touched on this earlier, but like I have an autoimmune condition, so if I breathe it too much,
Yeah.
I get pretty sick. And I've had to learn my own limits in all of
Mhm.
this. So even if you are not like me, even if you are completely able-bodied, please do yourself a favor, wear a mask, wear gloves, do everything that you can. Don't accidentally pour sulfuric acid on your jeans and your sweater and have it disintegrate like I did. Um, but I think, I'm really a producer and a planner. I am really numbers oriented as well. So before anything else, I itemize my own debit card. So before anything else, before I was prepping for all of this, I was making so many lists of what it would involve. Um, the safety warnings for each product. I have still a spreadsheet of everything that I want to get that's necessary versus not necessary. Um, and just a caveat, like I'm not doing all of this on my own.
Okay.
We have an amazing community of folks who are willing to help. I'm gonna shout him out, even though I don't know
Please
if he
do.
wants him out, but Deep Fried Vinyl has been completely instrumental in helping me get to where I am. I think we early on recognized each other as toy guys, and it, I think that there's like a bond there for people who want to like help each other out and kind of help each other figure stuff out. Um, Not that I'm quite at the point where I can help him out at all because he's an expert in his craft and amazing at what he does. Uh, but yeah, a lot of preparation went into it, especially as someone who like doesn't make the most money in the world. I think I really had to plan and budget and know what I was getting into. Does that kind of answer your question? I forgot the other part of your question.
Yeah, I mean, figuring out the budgeting part and all that stuff, and then having input, taking the leap is still another thing. So, how did we even get to that point? Because you have to make your own pans, your own stuff, and have large scale equipment sometimes,
Yeah,
which is
yeah, it's
wild.
I dedicated different months to learning different skills. So like I
Okay.
wasn't a welder. I didn't know how to weld before this, but you gotta learn both welding, brazing, and soldering to put the pans together. So I would kind of get as far as I could along in the process. Like I would do tests where even before I had the salt bath, which is where you dip the vinyl into it, or before I had the vinyl itself from Polysol, I was just practicing painting on glove molds to the toys that I had sculpted. This is even before I had toy wax. So I learned how to do that first. And then I kind of had to bargain with myself like, okay, if you still want to do this at this point, then invest this next amount of money. And spreading it over time helps as well. But it's just the excitement of it. I
Hmm.
think I am someone who revels in failures. Like I refuse to give up on anything ever, probably to a fault. I get really, really excited when I see something that looks exceedingly difficult because I take it as a challenge. I really, in a messed up way, enjoy it when I think that something is going to go exactly to plan because I can see it in my brain and then it comes out and there's like one little thing wrong with it. It just pushes me to keep going.
Yeah.
So each part of the process of like, okay, you're learning to make glove molds, and then you're learning how to dip something in the salts without the glove mold rising out of the mold. Okay, well, now you have to put screws on the side of the mold and like put a cover on it. And each little step is another fire that gets
Mhm.
set under my ass. Because I'm a crazy person. And
Yeah.
I wouldn't accept that anyone who does this at home isn't also completely insane.
Yeah. What's crazy is you're describing like, I mean, it's the joy, right? The joy of figuring something out and that breakthrough. Um, and you know, as you were talking about like the safety stuff,
Hmm.
so some of us work with factories and they do all the safety stuff and they do all that. There's a factory that I want to work with so bad only because they don't. They like pour stuff in and then they'll show a picture of their space and there's a guy in shorts and Crocs, no shirt, just like
That's so scary. I
I
could never.
know, and he like it's a factory that works with quite a few creators. That it's like, what are you doing here? And he posts it like it's nothing. He's like, oh, we're just a day in the factory.
Oh God. Do I know? Can I ask who it is? Am
I
I
don't
allowed
know
to
how to
know?
pronounce the name. Like,
Got it.
yeah, I'll show you. Yeah, I'll show you after this. I don't know how to pronounce their name. It's like this long. I don't know any of the letters. How they work together.
Yeah, I'm also
Um,
holding back from asking you a million questions about your process, but
oh, you can ask whatever you want. This is your episode, but
okay.
there is gatekeeping. I will say, especially for Toys on Tap, gatekeeping cannot exist unless it's to save someone.
Yeah.
Like, other than that, like everything that we do, I'm more than happy to share. The only time I've said no is when someone has like it's their second week into making toys and they're like, I want to do a factory. It's like, pump the brakes. Let's make sure we have a market, a cool design, a prototype. Let's figure out all this stuff before I just hand you information and bury you.
Yeah.
Um,
I think that's part of why I want to do it all on my own too, is that because for me, it's about learning a skill first
yeah,
and everything else comes second. It's just about learning. And,
yeah.
if I can invest the time by myself, then at least I know that I've learned something. And if people like it, cool, you know?
You have a skill that so many of us don't have. So, like doing these things, like so many of us, I hated making resin toys at home. And so it was like toxic fumes. If you spill it on the floor, it's over. If you like the mold making process, I can't tell you how many times I messed up because I didn't vent correctly. It was just so costly and you don't earn your money back. And so I just, from that point on, have decided like factory only if I really want something made because I just cannot. And you're on the other side of that, like, no, I'm going to learn the skill and then we'll go from there, which is insane. Like, you did it. You beat us.
No, I mean, it's like it's a hobby that exists on free exchange of information. I
Yeah.
think there's no way that you can do this kind of thing and be gatekeepy.
Hmm.
Also, I kind of like the messes too. Like I have clothes that are completely covered in resin and paint and all of that, and it's fine for me, and I know it's probably not fine for other folks. But yeah, the one thing that I will get to me, in which case I will be gatekeepy, is if someone messages me like I'm a chatbot,
Oh,
or
yeah.
like, like no hello, no nothing, just like I'll open a request and it's like how to XYZ. And I'm like, come on, man. Like
Like,
that's, and
yeah. How
I'll
about,
still answer them, but
yeah, it's
little
like, how about, hi, I need
right.
help. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that I don't know. And the cool thing I like about this toy community is not only will people respond if you need help, but also they notice when people are struggling, so they'll reach out. Let's pause right there. Toys on Tap is in process of launching our third Kickstarter, the 6-inch Yearman soft vinyl figure. We are collaborating with Depressed Monsters, and we couldn't be more stoked about this partnership to bring Yearman to life. There's an OG colorway, there's variants, and there's a stretch goal, but you can only find out by getting notified and supporting the Kickstarter. That would be helpful. We are in pre-launch. We launch June 12th, so get ready. It's going to be super amazing. So go over, click the button, get notified. It's in our bio. It's in Depressed Monsters bio. We would love that. Thank you for the support. We cannot wait to launch this because we know that you're going to love this project. Now let's get back to the episode. And it's something that I've learned that you have to pay forward, and you just have to do, like, there was a company that was going to launch a Kickstarter and they got told no because they needed prototypes. And so it was like, okay, how do we pay forward the stuff that has come our way? Let us help you find a way to get a prototype and we'll go from there. And it was just, well, because people have done, like, early on, people were like, Abe, you're messing up, dude. Like, let's rewind this a little bit so you don't waste any more money. And I can't say thank you enough to that. And the only way to thank that is, like, keep pushing it forward.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just by doing this podcast, I know that this is your passion and it's, it's what you do, but I can't tell you how helpful it has been, even just for mindset, to listen to your interviews while I'm making things at home. I mean, that alone is such a privilege for artists to have at their fingertips as a resource. It's really cool.
It has changed. It still is for me a love letter, but this is really now an archive of, I don't know. We've been doing it for 5 years, and there's artists that we interviewed when we first started that no longer make anymore. And we've just been around long enough that we've seen the rise and fall of certain artists, and we've seen people that have kind of just retired. Like Mark I came in as the end of his career, which is so crazy. And he was so sweet to give me all the time in the world and be with us. But it's crazy to see how far we've come.
Yeah, he's the best. It's also really crazy having listened to interviews and then have these like online friendships with people now. And the first time that I ever heard their name was on your show. Like Mechavirus has become, I would say, a friend. He's really an outstanding indivial. So,
he's an
thank you
insane
for doing what you
creator.
do.
Yeah.
He's amazing.
I don't know how he does it and how he envisions it. But the way that he uses other things on soft vinyl is wild to me, because I can't see, like, something about my brain can't see it, and he just makes it happen, and it's rad.
Yeah, he's on some shit that the rest of us just are not. So if he's listening,
one day we'll get
one
there.
day I'll get there.
So you do that, you go to Collected Con, and this is the first time that we're debuting and selling soft vinyl figures. And really, like, people can, it's such a funny thing, because it's like you're one of the only ones that can be like made in the USA, because mold plates, everything is made here. And that's an insane thing. Tell me reception as people saw this adorable little figure, and then tell me the first one that you brought forward to sell.
Yeah, so I brought a few toys to the show. I have a lot of different sculpts that I would like to make into toys eventually. I have toys that I made initially in vinyl and then have never seen the light of day ever again. So the ones that I brought were honestly just the easiest ones to produce, the ones that I could reliably produce. It had nothing to do about the design. One of them was Lil Gumbo, who I have, I think, over here. He's a little fishman.
Yeah.
He's wearing pants. He's got a belt. I would say that the reception was probably the best for him. And then Slime Squatch, which is just a slime Sasquatch who was born out of the fact that I couldn't quite figure out how to sculpt fur at one point and realized it was looking like slime. So I went with it and it became Slime Squatch. The reception kind of blew me away. I wasn't expecting anything. I thought I'm new to the scene. Well, not new to the scene, but I've been doing things sort of undercover for a while. I go out and meet people and don't tell them I'm a toy designer. Um, which, by the way, if you're listening, like, be yourself and don't take yourself too seriously, but don't make yourself smaller. That was,
Yeah.
I did that for a really long time, for fear out of not being perceived as like the cool guy. Just, you know, just be yourself. But I'm stepping away from the conversation. I kind of went into it thinking that if I sold one thing, I would be so thrilled.
Hmm.
I thought if one person recognized who I was, even better. My head would be too big to fit through the door, and I was really nervous. I was like, I'm going to be with creators who I'm a huge fan of or who I've been talking to online for a long time. I was like, oh man, like I've been such a fan of Wonder Goblin, James, for a minute. And then when I showed up, he knew who I was. And other people, like I had someone come up to me and was like, "Can I take a photo?" And I was like, "Yeah, man." And I like stepped away from the booth and she was like, "No, with you."
Mm.
And like asking me questions and like people who were like taking notes and like asking me to sign their toys. And someone came over with a canvas of like signatures of their favorite artists and they were like, "Here's your spot." It was just completely unexpected
Yeah.
and really exciting. um uh, just the idea that like this is what I've wanted to do my whole life and I do it for me and me alone, and then just to think that there are other people out there who, even if they don't feel the exact same way, like get excited by the same things. I think that I really felt alone in my interests for a lot of my life, being like just like this weird quiet kid. And it it, it was remarkable. I am so thank you to everyone who came and said hi. It like meant more than I could ever express. And we sold
You,
out.
which is rad. That's,
Yeah.
I mean, that's rad. So what's so crazy is you are describing the place that we all need to stay, but we get caught up, right? So you have this mindset of, man, if one person buys this, if one person comes and says hi, or if one person recognizes me, and the flip side of that, that I think I get caught up in it all the time, is like, I need to pay for this booth. I need to pay for this. And you start
Mhm,
to forget that it wasn't about that to begin with. Like
mhm,
it's cool to get your booth paid for, but it wasn't about that. It was about the making and the enjoyment and what toys have done for your life. And so, um, man, to hear that that's like where you're at, please keep that forever. Please. Like that's so rad to stay in that spot.
thanks. Yeah, I don't want to lose it. It's like, I mean, we all make art, I think, to share a bit of ourselves and feel seen. And man, I felt very visible, which usually doesn't make me comfortable, but in
Mm.
this way, it really did.
It was cool. I met you for the first time, I mean, probably through Instagram,
Mhm.
early on, but um, at Indie Toy, and it was almost like, because those conversations are always tough, right? You're tabling, people come up and they say like, "I'm a maker too," or "I do this," or some amount of that,
Sure.
and then the question is always like, "Oh, tell me what you make or what you do or all that." And I remember like you had started posting about, or I had started at least seeing the making process of doing soft vinyl at home.
Mhm.
And I knew who you were immediately just from like,
That's
oh, I
fun.
make toys at home. It was like, no, we know. We know. We know that you make toys at home. That's rad. So it was cool to meet you there and then to be tabling at the same show. I think that's the part that I enjoy, especially on this side with Toys on Tap. We not only do we interview people, but then we get to go to these shows and table alongside everyone. And it's so wild.
Yeah, I was so excited to meet you at that show too, because I know we had kind of commented on each other's stuff online. but I was still in the mindset of like, do I tell people who I am? Because until CollectedCon, I was doing everything completely anonymously.
Hmm.
I wasn't sharing my name. I wasn't sharing what I looked like. I had these video tutorials where I shared my voice, and that was it. But I also think that I had a fear that being a like queer, non-binary, like female presenting person was gonna instantly put set like make me less than the rest of the
Mm,
creators. So I didn't talk to anyone for a really long time. So that show that we met each other was the first time that I was like, I'm a toy maker. Here's what I do. I'm so, so excited to meet you, and still teetering on that cusp of like, do I tell people I'm a fan?
yeah.
Is that weird? Um, but no, everyone was super awesome. I was completely floored that anyone had any idea who I was. So thank you for
I
being so
mean,
supportive.
this is you'll see it. This is not the space for people to other people. This
Yeah.
is not the amount of hate that would come towards that person that did that would be
Yeah.
unbearable.
We're all freaks. We're
Yeah.
all the weirdos.
um I will say that you bring up something very interesting, that this
Yeah.
is predominantly, whether we like to admit it or not, a male dominated thing. And
Yeah.
I don't know why that is. I don't know. Like I've had we've had this gamut of people that have come on, and I would say probably about 80% of them are male creators. And not for lack of trying to find anyone, right?
Yeah.
Anyone in any community to be on here. What has that been like to jump into this and be like, because you had that feeling of like, oh, people might other me. What does
Yeah.
it feel like to jump into it and not really have that?
Man, a pleasant surprise.
Hmm.
Been a pleasant surprise. I also don't know why the demographics are the way they are.
Hmm.
I've also made some friends who are, members of other communities in this toy scene who are incredible. Um, it was not shocking, but I was pleasantly surprised. There have been folks who have been a little bit odd.
Okay.
Who like, like people who have made some inappropriate jokes
Oh,
about my
hate
talent.
that.
Yeah, 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 yeah. But you know what? There's going to be weirdos in every community, and
Yeah.
that's totally fine. But far less than I ever expected. I feel really welcomed by everyone here. I've had a really warm reception. Um, and I didn't expect not only to be making friends of every demographic, but different ages too.
Hmm.
I think, the age margins for folks who are in the toy scene is really quite large. And this is like the most friends I've had in different generations than I've ever had before, which is really cool. Um, but yeah, everyone's been amazing.
Yeah. Those goobers that are making dumb comments, those stupid
It's all
people.
right. There's been
Yeah.
like two, and I think that those are folks who, like, I've learned retrospectively that people stay away from anyway. So it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah. There
Yeah.
is, I will, that is my favorite part about this community. Over the 5 years of doing this, there is an underlying thing where you can see why people stay away from certain people,
Yeah.
and no one talks about it. It just like echoes through
Yeah.
and it's really funny to see why that is.
Yeah.
And I think, man, I wish I knew who came on the podcast and said this, but there is something about just being genuine and
Mm.
kind. Like those two things will speak volumes in this community. And the second that someone isn't one of those, oh, it shows. It shows very quickly.
Yeah. Something that I really, really appreciate about this community is that I haven't really met anyone who mistakes kindness for weakness.
Hmm.
I think everyone appreciates kindness. No one is going to look at you differently because you're nice to someone, which feels like a rarity. I
Hmm.
don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm in Los Angeles and like spent some time in New York too, but it that I think has been the most surprising.
Yeah, I mean, because there's weird things that happen along the way, and I think early on, um, I know that we decided that we weren't gonna, like, if it happened towards us, attack or speak out against like people behaving a certain way towards us. And I think that people, that speaks volumes when other people do that as well. Like, you know that there's things happening and no one is blatantly attacking online, and it's I think it's out of a kindness to not destroy the community that's been bought and brought to life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it is a wild thing. And the age demographic is wild as well. Like, Xander just came on. I think Xander's like 12 or 13 years younger than me. And which, very new maker, incredible to see. And then there's people that I interact with at shows that are like 20, 25 years older than me, which
Hmm.
super fun. I like all that stuff, and being around it all. It is a um more than painting, more than anything, like a wide open art space that anyone can kind of dabble in, which is nice.
Absolutely. Also, Xander is amazing.
He's so
For being,
funny. We
yeah.
had I cut it out of the episode. I'll talk about it here. I don't even care. But there was a I felt so stupid. His name is Xander Minor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell me why I asked him where his toy name Xander Minor Toys came from. Like, it was such a shock that I cannot. I will never forget that for myself. I asked him
Oh.
that, and he was like, "Well, it's my name." You're right. I'm an idiot. Like, I felt so stupid.
No, no, no. Listen, you're going with the format. It makes sense. I didn't know
Yeah.
that. Listen, I might not have known that Minor was his last name. I might,
That's the part that
fine.
really stuck with me. I didn't know that part. I knew because I tabled right next to him at Indie Toy. So I knew his
Yeah,
name. I didn't know his last. That's what threw me. I don't know.
you're fine. Be
Hopefully he
kind to
forgives me.
yourself. You're good. He's the nicest guy. You're good.
So you have that reception there.
Mhm.
What's next for Mimor? What is on the horizon? Because it's crazy to, I mean, you can always improve on the skill, but you have the skill set now to make your own toys and characters and stuff. So now, what does that look like for you going forward?
Yeah, thanks. Bigger toys.
Yeah.
So the reason that the toys that I do are so small is because in order to do bigger pieces, you have to do the most perfect electroplated copper molds. The
Mm,
smaller molds that I do are silicon glove molds. Any larger, and if you're thinking about, okay, Japanese production on a much smaller scale, you're dipping the mold into the salt bath to cure the vinyl. If it's silicon and it's malleable, it's just going to collapse in on itself under the
mm,
weight of the salts. So larger toys require copper molds. I am not quite there yet.
mm,
I have electroplated a few molds. I've gotten some like okay pulls, but they're not reliable enough to get enough to bring to a show. So I have been learning how to electroplate since like December. It's the bane of my existence. It's the love of my life. And eventually I want to have like giant asymmetrical monster toys.
yeah. How big are we talking? You say giant. So next to me, I think the biggest one I have is 10 inches. Is that
Yeah.
giant? Okay, okay, okay.
Well, that's, like I would like to go as big as possible. But
Yo.
just for myself, listen, I don't think that people are going to come in thinking that they have the shelf space to buy these things.
Mm,
I would really love to try to get larger pieces just as like a large art project. In the meantime, I would love to sell 6 to 10 inch
okay.
toys. Um, But I have this resin prototype that I did of a sculpt called Mr. Normal. He is this like alien monster baby that looks after you and protects you while you sleep. And that will be my first large toy that I'm going to
Hmm.
try to electroform. It's also the most pieces that I've ever done.
How many?
Um, I think it's 6 pieces. Yeah, 6 pieces.
That's a big. That's a lot. Yeah.
But I want to learn how to do it, you
Yeah.
know? And this is what I mean is that like I just want to have the skill. I want to know how to do it and the product will follow.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, and then eventually, and I mentioned this to someone else recently too. You know the 1960s toy Great Garloo? The like
Yeah.
okay, yeah, he was another thing that formed my like the things that I love when I was a kid because my mom had one when she was young and she talked about it all the time. It's this gigantic motorized green monster with a
Yeah.
little like
Weird hands,
sad,
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
hands that move and he's remote operated.
Hmm.
I would make one of those. I want to do like a remote operated vinyl toy. I think that would be sick.
Oh, a vinyl toy.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. Wild. Okay. I mean, it has the tension and everything that like a normal toy would have, so you could.
Yeah, it's just a thought. Also, I would want to do it for me first and see how
Yeah.
it goes, and but the immediate next step are 6 to 10 inch soft vinyl toys. I
Cool.
really took you through a roundabout way
I
of
mean,
getting there.
because so my dream, I like that you want to go bigger. My dream is doing a 36-inch soft vinyl toy.
No.
The issue with vinyl that is too big is if it's not hard enough vinyl, it collapses in on itself. So, um, I know the factory I would use. I just don't know if they can do it, and I don't know if there's a toy that people would want like as a guaranteed thing because that's like a $900 $1,000 toy. So
Yeah.
I need to figure that piece out. But that I get the desire to go bigger. But there is something I in your pursuit of going bigger, I hope you don't stop doing the two-piece toys because that is there's not enough two-piece or two-part toys that people can get, especially in this like weird economy. Those pickups of a two-part that's cheaper than a big piece is what is floating people right now, and it's amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, maybe this conversation will be the reason that I don't stop doing it, and
Yeah,
but
I mean, I will tell you based on experience, like especially what I've seen at different shows and stuff, we're just in a weird spot right now. I mean, you live in the US, you hear what I'm saying.
yes,
Um,
sir.
and until that stupid man leaves, I think we're still going to be in this spot. And so the smaller things that are I call them like little joy pieces, right? Like it's not so expensive, but it's enough that you still feel like you bought something that matters and you could put on your shelf and see it in the midst of this climate. So, yeah, the two-parters are something else right now.
Yeah, and I mean, if you do get to the 36-inch toy, I will be so excited.
I don't know
Monumentally.
the issue. Okay, so here's the dream. Now that we've already approached this, I want to do two things. One, I want to make a Kanigan because for some reason I'm
Ooh.
addicted to that ugly character.
Hell yeah.
They
Hell yeah.
already made a 4-foot one, so it already exists. I want one, but it already exists out there, and the reception was really like it got whoever has them. They're no more. Like you can't buy them, and the so pairing those together, if I want to make a 36-inch soft vinyl, it needs to be a non-original IP so that people know it and want to buy it. And I don't have that yet in that size. I don't even know where I would search for that.
Damn. I'll have to do some
Yeah,
thinking. It sounds really cool though. I feel.
I wanted to do the KMB that we made as a 36-inch,
Oh
but the
man.
pricing on it would be we it would take so much money to recoup the cost of what we put in. Because shipping it, so when you ship from a factory, it's wild. If you ship in large scale. So we shipped, when we initially did it, like 350 or 400 of them. And each one comes in a box. So each individual piece comes in a box that's already painted and assembled.
God.
And then they stack, I think it was like 6 high and 6 wide boxes inside of a bigger box. So to do a 36-inch piece, it's like the leg is a box, the body is a box. So it immediately is 6 boxes. And that's, yeah, so they eat you alive.
Yeah, like it's expensive enough as a hobby, let alone, trying to work with factories overseas.
Yeah. With all the, so that's where we're headed with the electronic stuff potentially, which I'm really excited for, and larger scale. Do we have any more shows that we're signed up for that you're doing?
Great question, TBD.
Okay.
I've been told by so I'm not going to give the names of the shows because I
Yeah.
don't want to do anything I'm not allowed to do. When I applied for Collected Con, I really went out on a whim. I didn't expect it to go over as well as it did, and I didn't apply to any other shows for 2026. So
Okay.
some organizers for some shows have approached me and said, would you be last call if someone drops out? Can you prep for this as if you're going to vend, and then we'll call you if we need, which is extremely flattering, but that might be what I have to do for the rest of the year. Going to try to apply for DesignerCon in Vegas.
Okay.
But, it's all very new. So I'll definitely let you know as it comes up.
Yeah, Vegas will be fun. Are you going to be attending Pasadena?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So
Wouldn't
they
miss
sent
it.
out the good God, what is that called? It's the thing with all the tables on it. What's that called? The map, I guess.
Yeah.
It's massive. Like, and they are fitting so many more people in because we each only get a 6-foot table. So you're really, I think the cool thing about it is like you're really seeing what people are capable of doing with a small amount of space.
Oh man,
It's
that's so
wild.
exciting. I
So
love the limitation. I love when something is like you can do it, but you can't go all out. How do you find that middle ground, even with tabling? That's so exciting.
at Collected Con, someone did it better than I've ever seen. What
Ooh.
the heck was their name? They were on the same aisle as Max and Cooper in that like line of people. And they had all the boxes they brought their stuff in. They then flipped over and became like stands and a countertop and everything. So it was wild. Like it was such a genius, and it didn't look like trashy. Like it looked like a really cool spot, and the boxes were. It was amazing to see.
Sick.
Yeah.
So
So
sick.
that's something that I'm trying to plan that out now because we're about a month out, and trying to figure out how to table and do that well.
Do
But
you know what
it's
you're gonna do with your booth yet? Or you're still working on it?
6 foot. I'm only bringing a couple things because it's smaller, so we'll probably do. The kaiju claw. I'll bring 3 things: the kaiju claw, some queso Jones that we have, and then the last KMB will be on site. So we'll do those 3, and so it's really just spacing out those 3 on the table, and then the hard part about the show is each time there's a different size thing. If I want a backdrop that says who we are, I have to re-buy one. And so it's like for a 10-foot booth, we have the one that we used for interviews at Collected Con. But this show, I have to buy a different one that's only 6 foot. So I went to Backdrop Source. I don't know if you've heard of them.
No.
And I was like, hey, I need to buy a lot of backdrops this year. So how about you guys just jump on as a sponsor and help? So they're going to like help out. And so it's not free. Let me just say that, but it's a super big help. So it's like an archway that'll be behind me. That's 6 by 8 foot. So it'll have all the stuff behind me, but it fits behind the table.
That's so rad. And I know you know this, but all of that is extra. Your stuff speaks for itself. That I'm so excited for the new Kaiju Claw colors. It's
Thank you.
really
Yeah,
cool.
they're pretty cool. We had a weird glitch, so I couldn't post them on time today, but we made it
Oh,
happen.
weird.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
website was doing something funky. The last part of every episode, you get to plug what you're doing, where they can find you, how they can work with you, all those good things, and where they can meet you, because now you table and do all kinds of rad stuff. So please plug away.
Absolutely. My home for where you can find me will always be Instagram, Mimor.toys. I actually just started doing a tutorial series answering questions about how you can make Sofubi at home. Also, always feel free to reach out to me, send me questions. That is where I'm going to be announcing all toy drops, including sales via Instagram, most likely. It's where I'm going to be announcing shows when they happen, and they will be happening, just not quite yet. And yeah, thank you so much for having me on, man. This has been such a joy.
Of course. Thank you, thank you, thank you for making it work, even with my fumble.